George Santos may very well live the rest of his life a punchline, but this afternoon his future as a United States representative is in serious doubt. A short time ago on Capitol Hill, Congressman Robert Garcia filed what's called a privileged resolution to expel Santos from the House. Essentially, that triggers a countdown clock. Santos will face a vote on his future in the next 2 days. Now, how that'll go down isn't exactly a metaphysical certainty. He's already survived 2 votes. That would have made him only the 6th member ever to be expelled from the House. But since the release of that embarrassing ethics report detailing his actions, a number of lawmakers have flipped. Adding to the uncertainty, Majority Whip Tom Emmer told reporters today his team does not plan to whip votes on the resolution, so Republicans will vote their conscience or not. After all, kicking Santos out of Congress and slamming the door behind him would, for the first time, or would, for at least the time being, further erode an already razor-thin Republican majority that Republicans have a very difficult time controlling. Joining me right now at the table, Democratic Congressman Eric Swalwell of California. Good to see you, Congressman, in person. We have a lot of opportunities to talk, but very few of them in real life. For all the weirdness that you and I have discussed over the years, this is actually an extra level of weird. It's very, very unusual for a member of Congress to be expelled from the House, number one. When it does happen, it's often got to do with a crime and that's already been adjudicated. There were some members, even some Democrats, who said, don't do this yet. Let's wait for the ethics report to see how bad it actually is. And it's come back and they've said, this is really bad.
I was in the camp of what the hell is taking you so long? Right. The guy admitted to most of what he has been accused of. Now, he has a day in court, and that's a different standard. But he did admit, once he was called out by the New York Times and other local press, that he did defraud the voters. And I think the fact that Republicans were willing to keep him around as long as he was useful to them, useful to deliver the votes, to take away any freedom that mattered to any of your viewers, just shows that they're not a serious lot when it comes to governing.
What's your sense of what is going to happen? Something has to happen within 2 days, but as we've learned with the House of Representatives these days, well, who knows?
He's gone. No,
you think he's done?
He's gone. Okay. Yeah, that's right. And again, it's because he's a political inconvenience now for Republicans. But, when they needed him, to pass, votes to take away a woman's right to make decisions about her own body, he was great. Right. When Kevin McCarthy needed him, to vote for him for Speaker, he was great to have around. And so I think what we have to contrast as Democrats is that we are all about governing and being serious and helping you in your life, and they're just about chaos, incompetence, and theater.
I mean, he's another level of chaos and theater, given that there's a lot of chaos and theater. There's all this talk about they've got a razor-thin majority, and that's why they don't want to give it up. But very little that has happened in the House has relied on that razor-thin majority. In other words, right, when things have happened in the House, it's generally been because Democrats have gotten involved in doing it. So does it matter much if George Santos is out of Congress?
No, it's going to matter to the TV writers in this building for Saturday Night Live. They're going to miss him. But frankly, everything that has mattered, from keeping the government open, to paying our bills and the debt ceiling, to funding the needs in the Middle East and Ukraine, Democrats are going to deliver the majority of the votes, again, because we're serious about getting things done. And what really has struck me over the years, and this is what Donald Trump brought to Washington, is this idea that we work in pro wrestling. That it's all about entertaining the quote-unquote fans. Mm-hmm. I happen to call them constituents, people who have real needs. But there's this showmanship now that Republicans have brought. As a Californian, I'd prefer if we just left the art and entertainment to the experts in the industry, and that we do a job of governing and helping people.
Let's talk about where we are on that right now. The House has a speaker, but it is limited in what it's been able to do. I will say the first outings with this new speaker surprised some people because he came up with an unusual suggestion for a continuing resolution, a laddered continuing resolution that nobody thought would work. And for the moment, he has kept the House open. But in terms of getting things done, in terms of legislating, where are we in the House and where are we going?
Well, there's still massive uncertainty because any one person in this land of misfit toys can call for his removal. So it's a matter of, does he want to govern for what's best for the country? Right. So fund the needs, as I said, in Ukraine and the Middle East and keep the government open? Or is he going to be beholden, to Matt Gaetz and others who just want chaos and want the House of Representatives to work as a law firm on behalf of one client Donald Trump. So we'll see in the weeks ahead. Look, they've shown their unseriousness today with Hunter Biden, right? He waved his hand. He said, you know what? You want me to testify? I'll come in and testify. I'll do it publicly. And now they're backing off and saying, we want to do it behind closed doors. So there's not a level of seriousness that meets, what the need is today in governance.
And yet we're within a year of an election. Yeah. What happens then? Because they, in the last midterm elections, they said it was about the economy and it was about inflation. And it turns out that it's not about a lot of the things that Republicans say it's about. It's still going to be about abortion. It's still going to be about rights. It's still going to be about serious governing. Yeah. Do you see a shift? Do you see Republicans moving in a direction that at least says, let's come out with some policies that will appeal to people and maybe they'll consider voting for us?
I'd be worried if these guys learned from past mistakes. And abortion is a great example where they keep trying to negotiate around that, solid right for a woman in her own body, and the voters are rejecting it.
Time and time again.
We're going to bury MAGAism in a year. Donald Trump's best day was November 2016, and he has been a loser ever since. In the midterms in 18, lost the White House and the Senate in 20. That red wave never came in 22, just lost in Virginia, Ohio, and across the country. So our voters know that freedom is on the line, financial freedom, freedom of body, freedom to vote, freedom of what your kids can read. Yeah. It's all on the line, and I'm confident we're going to mobilize and organize in the right direction.